This lecture is both an expansion on what you already know about independent clauses, as well as a review. So an independent clause is a group of words containing a subject and a verb and expressing a complete thought. Also known as a sentence, of course. But there are ways to combine independent clauses, to make the independent clause the foundation of a sentence and build on the independent clause. And that's kind of what I'm going to go into a little bit in this lecture. The lake is calm. Okay, we've got a subject, we've got a verb, and this makes sense. The lake is calm. Pretty standard stuff. Put a period at the end and we're done. Or maybe not. The lake is calm, period. The sky is cloudless, period. Okay, two independent clauses. That's fine. We can say that. It's a bit choppy though, and if we put those two sentences together as is, it might come off, kind of as maybe amateurish or just, choppy's probably the best word I can use. It doesn't flow. We can, however, connect these two ideas because they are independent clauses and because they're closely related. We can connect these two ideas with a semicolon, and we'll be talking more about semicolons later, but here's a little introduction to them. So we can say the lake is calm, semicolon, the sky is cloudless, period. Still kind of choppy, not as flowing as I'd like it to be. So what if we put these ideas together with a coordinating conjunction? The lake is calm, comma, and the sky is cloudless. I like that better. That's probably what I'd do. So let's talk about coordinating conjunctions. Now I know you know all about coordinating conjunctions. Like I said, this is a little bit of review and we can all use that. So we have 7 coordinating conjunctions: for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. And if you put those together, the first letter in each of those coordinating conjunctions spells fanboys. Just a good technique to remember them by. So let's look at a few ways we can use these words, these coordinating conjunctions. So the sky was overcast, comma, yet the lake was warm, calm. So tiny bit of a change in meaning there. The sky was overcast, comma, and the lake was calm. The day was dark and dreary. Here we have a coordinating conjunction, not connecting to independent clauses, but connecting to modifiers. So the day was, and this is a set of subject complements. So what was the day? The day was dark and it was dreary. She ran up the steps and into the house. Interesting. So now we're putting together 2 prepositional phrases and learning more about where she ran to. Now, I'm going to show you how you can use a coordinating conjunction to create a compound predicate. The fallen tree blocked the highway and delayed travel. So why is this suddenly a compound predicate? Well, it's a compound predicate because we have 2 different verbs sharing the same subject. 2 different verbs, blocked, delayed, sharing the same subject, tree. Why does this matter? Well, it matters because this is a technique for reducing repetition. It also matters because when we put a compound predicate together, there are things that we should think about. We want it to flow. We want it to sound like it makes sense. And there's also different rules for punctuation as well. When you use and to connect a compound predicate, you don't use a comma before the and. So that's something to keep in mind, because a lot of people will see that and they'll throw in a comma because they think it must be there. So let's pull this sentence apart and see what happens. We could express this idea, the fallen tree blocked the highway and delayed travel, as two separate ideas. The fallen tree blocked the highway, period. The fallen tree delayed travel, period. Okay, well, that's interesting because it gives us the same information. It tells your reader the same stuff, but it's repetitive, isn't it? So it's repetitive, it makes it kind of choppy, it makes for kind of boring and less concise reading. So you can see the value of turning it into a compound predicate. The fallen tree blocked the highway and delayed travel. I'm just going to reiterate that one more time because I know that this is confusing for some people. In the sentences that we've talked about so far, usually we have a subject and a single verb or verb phrase. But sometimes two verbs can share the same subject, and that's what we have in this case. So blocked and delayed share the subject tree. Okay, I'm going to move on. So here's something new that we haven't spoken about. And I'm bringing these up now because in the next chapter that you hopefully have read already on clauses, they talk about the subordinating conjunctions that show us we have a dependent clause coming on. So subordinating conjunctions such as after and since and because, those are common subordinating conjunctions, and they can be a little confusing if you don't know what conjunctive adverbs are, because conjunctive adverbs kind of look similar to subordinating conjunctions. So we can use well, I'll show you some examples in a moment here. But examples of conjunctive adverbs are however, moreover, therefore, accordingly, then, besides, nevertheless. So conjunctive adverbs can be distinguished from subordinating conjunctions by the fact that conjunctive adverbs can be shifted to a later place in the sentence. Conjunctions cannot. Conjunctions need to sit at the beginning of a dependent clause. They can't sort of be moved around easily. So subordinating conjunctions will be right at the beginning of a subordinate clause, and that's it. That's where they have to stay. So let me show you how conjunctive adverbs fit into a sentence. So if we have, say, these two independent clauses, again, the weather called for snow and sleet, we canceled our trip. These are independent clauses, complete sentences. They can stand on their own, or we can do different things to make that sentence, them into a sentence, a single sentence that flows better. So we might put a semicolon between them and connect them that way. We might put a comma and a coordinating conjunction in between the two independent clauses and connect them that way. Or we can do something else. We can place a semicolon between the two independent clauses and add one of these transition words, these conjunctive adverbs. Aha! Let's see what happens. The weather called for snow and sleet, therefore we canceled our trip. And isn't that interesting how it just adds a little bit of nuance to your sentence, and it stops the sentence from being choppy or lacking in flow. So let's summarize. Two independent clauses connected by a coordinating conjunction are separated by a comma. Two independent clauses not connected by a coordinating conjunction are separated by a semicolon or a period. When two predicates share a subject, we call it a compound predicate, do not add a comma before the coordinating conjunction that connects them. When connecting two independent clauses with a semicolon followed by a conjunctive adverb, we often follow the adverb, or that connecting word, transition word sometimes it's called, with a comma.